Hello, and welcome to the Cottage Witch Knitting Podcast. I'm Deanna, and these are my knitting plans for 2023. All right, so whether you know or whether you don't know, I am a very beginner knitter. I have knit a couple of things over the years, a couple hats, a scarf, nothing too elaborate. I've done a little bit of color work, did not turn out great, but I did it, and that's what's important. But, I really want to get into this hobby full time, and I would like to make something of it. I'd love to make my own clothes. I would love to build something for myself that I can look back on years later and really be proud of what I've accomplished. So that is the point of these podcasts. And I figure the best way to start is to make a plan. All things that really come to fruition start with a plan. So this one is mine. I've seen a whole bunch of people putting out my knitting plans for 2023, what I've knit for 2022. Obviously, I don't think I knit much of anything in 2022. I think I have one headband, an ear warmer, that I finished in 2022, and I did it in December, the end of December. I started a couple different things in December, but that's the only one I finished. So, a little bit about me. I shop for projects. I don't just buy yarn. I buy yarn with a specific purpose. So, all of the yarn you see here, everything you see behind me, there's yarn over here, all of it was bought with intent. So, why is it still sitting here? Yeah. Intent is good, but it means nothing if you don't follow through. So we're going to look at all of the yarn that I've bought and figure out what the plan is. So let's go with right behind me. In case you're wondering, my notes are right here. And there's also a little picture of me so I can see what I'm looking at. But let's go with this, right behind me. So this is my mohair cubby. Most of the mohair in that cubby is for 2 sweaters. Okay, all of it is for 3 sweaters. Let's not kid ourselves here. This is for the Color Rain sweater by Knitting for Olive. It is the first sweater that I decided, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. I want to make that. So the sample is knit up in this really dark gray that fades into this putty color. And I thought it was really pretty, but I wanted it in pink. I think pink looks really good on me, and I think these are absolutely beautiful colors. I got this in Cherry Blossom and Putty, or Kit. It's also called Kit. But yeah, I'm very excited for that one. So that's that. That is definitely sweater plan number 1. I had bought the yarn for that, the mohair, because it's all mohair. And then I decided that I was too scared to try to do that with the amount of money I spent on the mohair, because these 2 columns here are all for that one sweater. Let's put that away. Oh, I'll put that back. That's fine. Yeah, it scared me because it's multiple strands of mohair held together to make this sweater, and I didn't want to ruin it. So I'm like, okay, it's December. I want to make my December sweater. Every year I buy a ugly Christmas sweater because I think they're wonderful. I love colorwork sweaters. And I decided this year that I'm going to make my own. So it's held with mohair. So it's colorwork plus mohair. And again, I was like, I'm going to ruin this. My first sweater should be something easy. So, okay, let's try this again. Well, let's talk about that Christmas sweater. So the Christmas sweater is the Holly Sweater by Knitting for Olive. It's this beautiful cream sweater with holly berries across the yoke. I think it's a circular yoke construction. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really looked too closely at the pattern. But it is beautiful, it is simple, it is elegant, and I really wanted that for my Christmas sweater. So it's going to be next year's Christmas sweater, but still, I want to make it. And yeah, it scared me. That's a lot of yarn that I'm going to be holding together at the same time. I think in some parts of the sweater, you're holding 6 different strands of yarn because you're holding all 3 colors. And that was a lot for me for my first sweater. So I'm like, okay, as I stated, we need to make something that's simple. What's more simple than the Novice Sweater by Petite Knit? I can do that. That should be fine, right? I don't know about you, but I am one of those people who likes to use the recommended yarn. In the recommended yarn from Petite Knit, I impulse bought it, and it is the most I have ever spent on a sweater. Ever. It was a lot. So it's Isager Jensen held together with this Isager silk mohair and champagne. And when they are finished together, it is this most beautiful marled champagne-y color that I've ever seen, and I absolutely love it. And I wanted that sweater in that color. And I don't know how else to get that color besides this. So, once again, I bought another sweater's quantity worth of yarn in a 1-month span, maybe 2-month span, and I decided I can't make this. So, what do you do? What do you do at that point when you are just so afraid of using the yarn that you have? You take it step by step. So once again, I found myself on Ravelry, and I found the step-by-step sweater by Handmade by Florence. There's a lot of beginner-friendly sweaters that I found, and all of them are wonderful. But the perk that this sweater had is that she literally walks you through it step by step. There are videos out the wazoo on this one sweater as she takes you through every part of the process. And I was like, that's the one for me. Not to mention that it's done in Drops Nepal. So from what I've found, Drops is one of the more budget-friendly yarns that you can get. And it was just a lifesaver for me. I'm like, yes, it's something that I can mess up that I'm not going to be horribly upset about, other than, messing up a sweater and it not turning out and having to try again some other time. But it was perfect. And I really loved the stripes that she did on hers. I like the striped variant. I know that stripes are really addictive in knitting because you get to the next stripe and you just want to get to the next stripe and get to the next stripe, and eventually you'll just have a sweater and it's done. And that seemed perfect for me. So I'm a little disappointed in the color. I initially wanted a green and white sweater, like kind of this creamy sweater, and I thought that would be really beautiful. I love green, I love pinks, I love kind of muted pastel tones and neutrals. But that is not what I got. So I got this gray-green, and on the website it looked perfect, like this nice, light, very almost pastel-y sage color, and it was going to be wonderful. This is not green. I would say this is a blue, honestly, but you tell me. Is that green or is that blue? It's definitely gray, but I don't think it's going to be awful. The white color that I got, this is chalk, which probably was a giveaway that it was going to be whiter than I wanted. But again, you know what, together, I think they're okay. I think they're going to be a good color combination for my first sweater, and I'm kind of excited about it and devastated at the same time. So, thanks to the mindful creators, I found out that I was twisting my stitches because I started out as a crocheter. I crocheted, for 20 plus years. I used to make toys and sell them at craft markets, and it made me happy. I loved that. I'm very good at it. But the process of the crocheting and trying to crochet so tightly to make sure that the stuffing didn't poke through the holes of the crochet, it started to hurt my hand a lot, so I had to stop. But, hi kitty, what are you doing? You wanna come say hi? Oh. Say hi. Say hi, Minnie. Hi. I love my coffee. I didn't used to be a coffee drinker, but this Folgers instant French vanilla cappuccino stuff with a little bit of extra Tirani, no sugar vanilla syrup. Oh, so good. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, what was I saying? I got cat hair all over me now. Oh yeah, twisting my stitches. So I finished the neckband and I did a folded neckline for it. And I did the German short rows because, yes, it's my first sweater, but I want it to be something that I will wear forever. So I'm going to make it how I know I'm going to like it, and I want the shaping in the back because I don't like things that are up around my neck. I don't like regular t-shirts because they pull back and it feels like it's choking me all the time. I don't like it. So German short rows it is. And so I've gotten just through the German short rows on the sweater, and it's a free pattern, so please go and find it. It's absolutely wonderful. I'll have all of the links to everything that I mentioned down below. So if you want to go find it, it's there. Anyway, I've gotten that far, and I just now realized that I'm twisting my stitches. So I'm debating whether I want to go back and just unravel it all and start over, doing my stitches not twisted, or do I just leave it? When I did my swatch, I was twisting my stitches. So do I need to make a new swatch? Should I gauge swatch again? Tell me in the comments below, because I'm kind of at a loss, and this is a journey together. This is me learning. So I would love for this to be a community endeavor. Let's learn together. Give me your advice. I would love to talk to you about it. But yeah, so that's my conundrum for right now on that sweater. And then there are 2 more sweaters I would like to make this year. Of course, I've already bought the yarn. Initially, I bought the yarn so that I could participate in test knits. Yes, I have never made a sweater before, and I bought yarn for test knits. But I did get into a test knit. Granted, it was for mittens, and it was for a color work pattern that I've already shown that I'm working on and have down, and it was for mittens, which I've already done before. So that makes sense, but still, it's my first month and I'm in a test knit. How cool! So yeah, I'm very excited about that, and I can't wait for those to come out. I love helping. But anyway, sweaters. I'm all over the place. Can you tell? I'm excited. So my sweaters, you can actually see them right up here. So I got 4 cones of Holstgarn Super Soft. I had seen that Creabea had promoted this, and it was apparently a really great yarn. It's definitely scratchy on the cone, but it's also still got all the spinning oil and everything on it, so I imagine once I wash it that it's going to come out beautifully and just be this super soft thing. Super warm. But I want to make Creabea's Kerr Sweater, Kerr, and it's this beautiful colorwork pattern, but I would like to make it for my husband and my father for Christmas this coming year. And yes, it's January, but I'm not a fast knitter and I'm still learning. So there's several other sweaters that I have to knit before I would even remotely be comfortable knitting a full sweater for someone else. So yeah, there's that. But that's all the sweaters, I think, that I have yarn for. Let me double check my notes. Color Rain, Holly, Novice, Step by Step, Kerr, and Kerr. Yes, so those are all the sweaters that I have yarn for so far. Now for the not sweater quantities of yarn that I bought. Okay, so first one, well, obviously I would like to finish the projects that I currently have going. So let's talk about those. I currently have the Candy Mountain Cowl from Twin Stitches Designs that is being carried over from December. I got Moonglow Yarn Co.'s 2022 Rainbow Advent. And so I'm using that to make the Candy Mountain Cowl. Beautiful yarn. I'm in love with Moonglow Yarn Co.'s yarn. As you can see, here's all this. I just ordered 2 more of this set today so that I could make the garter stitch blanket for myself and my mother. I have a problem, guys. I have a yarn addiction and I need to stop. It's another reason for this video. These are my plans and this is what's going to happen. I hope. Hopefully it'll keep me on track. Fingers crossed. Pray for me. Anyway, yeah, so I'd like to finish that. I have, let me see here, my Candy Mountain Cowl that I have cast on. There's a couple other things, which I'll talk about all of that in my next video, which is going to be my second podcast episode. This doesn't count. This is technically knitting for 2023. Totally different. So we'll go over all the whips and everything there, I guess. So we won't talk about this here. So after I finish my current whips, I have the yarn to start the Honey Purse by Petite Knit. I didn't realize that the stitch on this purse was brioche, like honey brioche stitch. I'm not really sure what that's going to entail, but apparently I'm learning how to brioche. Yay! But that's good because I want to learn as much as I can. So learning a new type of stitch is going to be great for me, and especially on such a small project, so it'll be a little easier. For that, I have Petite Knit Sunday. I did once again order the recommended yarn for this because I'm not quite yet comfortable with... Okay, so that when I ordered this, I was not yet comfortable with the idea of substituting yarn because I didn't understand how substitutions work. Of course, on my test knit, I'm totally substituting yarn, but that's okay. It's what I had available, sort of. It's what I could get quickly that I was happy with. That's what's important. Anyway, honey purse, Sunday, and this is held together with one strand of this tin silk mohair, also by Sadness Garn. And so yeah, that's gonna be that. And I'm excited for that one. I got the zipper from PetiteKnit. I got the inner bag lining from PetiteKnit. So I think it's going to go together really well. I have everything I need. It just needs to be put together. The next couple things were actually the first few things that I ordered in October of 2022. I was just kind of getting onto Knitstagram. I was just kind of getting onto Knitstagram. And I found Moonglow Yarn Co. and I found Jamie Lomax of Pacific Knit Co. And I'm in love with Jamie's Doodle designs. Like, absolutely love them. I think they're the most amazing thing ever, because every time I do them, they're all going to be different and they're all going to be customized to whatever I'm making, whoever I'm making it for, and I think it's just wonderful. So I ordered 2 sets of yarn from Moonglow Yarn Co. And that's these 2 down here, these 2 rows here. It's the Spellbound color set and then the Autumn Doodle Cowls color set. So this is the Autumn Doodle and then the Spellbound. I saw someone did this really beautiful Spellbound themed October Halloween Doodle Cowl. Autumn Doodle Cowl is what it is. That's the pattern. And it was so pretty. I have it saved. I definitely want to imitate it a little bit because I think the color choices and the patterning was absolutely beautiful and very well done. So I'm going to try to do that. And I want a Halloween themed one and I want an autumn themed one. So like the autumn one with the browns and the pinks, that's going to be like coffee cups and leaves and all fall themes and pumpkins, and that's going to be great. And then the purple one with the Spellbound set is going to be ghosts and cats and witches' cauldrons, and it's just going to be wonderful. I'm so excited. Of course, I have to get around to making these things. That's a problem I have. The most recent order from Moonglow Yarn Co. that I have is the Vintage Valentine color set. And that's going to be for Jamie Lomax's Valentine Doodle Cowl. Yeah, I'm making another one. But that's the top one here. And that is also the same color set that I'm going to be making 2 garter stitch blankets in. I would have just used the colors that I already have, but the recommendations for that are for the 115 gram skeins, and I got the 100 gram skeins because I was just doing a cowl with it. I didn't think I needed that much. So yeah, I decided I just needed more. And initially for my mother's, I was going to use the Premier Everyday yarn. It's an acrylic yarn that I have. I have an entire shelf full of it. You'll see it in B-roll somewhere. But I was just going to use that because I have a whole bunch of these colors. I'm not really going to use them. I was using them for my stuffed animals because they're sturdy and it's safe to wash them and it's great. But I was just going to make that for her because she's got a whole bunch of dogs, and they're just all over her all the time. So she's, using the blanket. Dogs are going to be all over it. They're going to, I don't know, maybe I'm being too sensitive about the yarn, but the yarn's really expensive. It's hand-dyed yarn. $30 a skein is a lot for me. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that, but when it launched today, when the color set came out again as available, I kind of forgot that I had made plans for her, and I got 2 sets. Help me. I don't know. I have problems. But so yeah, I have 2 sets of this colorway coming again. So that'll give me 3 sets, 2 in the 115 gram and 1 in the 100 gram. Thankfully for the blankets, it's just using all of one color and then using all of the next color. So there's not really going to be any leftovers, which is good because I don't need any leftovers. But yeah, so those 2 things, technically, I have the stuff coming. It was ordered today. It's not here, but it was ordered today. Then there is one other thing that I want to do this year, and I don't know if I'm going to get around to it because I've just got so much that I want to do for my first year of knitting. But I want to make the Charlotte's Dream blanket. And I'll have the information down below. She has a designer name, and then she also has, her own name. She uses her own name on her Instagram, and then her designer name in Ravelry, and I think it's Dedri Uys. It's in the description below. But the Charlotte's Dream crocheted blanket is absolutely beautiful. It's kind of this mandala themed granny square blanket, and I think it's got either 6 or 9 squares because they're really big squares, and it's absolutely beautiful. And that is actually right here behind me. So that's done in this Sheepy's Stonewashed. And I love the color variations on this. And so I've got a whole bunch of it. This entire cube behind me is actually done in this yarn. But that's also 2 blankets. But I'm not planning for the other blanket this year. Technically, I bought all of the yarn for that blanket and then a little bumblebee granny square blanket 3 years ago. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have the same issues that I do where you just buy yarn and it just kind of sits there? You have plans for it, but you just kind of never get around to them? I don't know. Tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories about your projects that are yet to be made. But that, I believe, is everything that I have the yarn for. Yeah, at least planned projects. Okay, there's one more project. I swear I don't have a problem. Maybe I have a slight problem, but there is one more project. So maybe 3. I also got Moonglow Yarn Co.'s vintage Valentine Socks set. And Ellyndria on Instagram is coming out with these beautiful heart socks. And I really want to make them. They're coming out on the 31st, I think. It's either the 31st or the 1st. And so I got the sock set so that I can make myself some. And she says that you should be able to get 2 sets of socks out of them, depending on the size of your foot. I don't have big feet. I have an 8.5 US. I don't know what that is in European. Sorry. But I'm very excited to make those socks. I want to make those socks. They're not on my list, but I do want to make those socks. It's kind of a plan that I've had in my head that I just forgot about when I'm on my list. And then I've got other sock yarns that I am not going to talk about right now. That they're not in the plans. If I get to them, I get to them. Great, but they're not in the plans. Okay, great. So now on to the projects that I still need supplies for. Yeah. Okay. So obviously there's the Valentine's blankets. I need the yarn for that. I ordered that yarn today. It just needs to get here. And I was actually surprised. This yarn from the first batch came really quick. So I think because I'm not waiting for her to dye it, it's already dyed and ready to go. I think I'm going to have the yarn in sometime this coming week. Right now it is Friday the 20th. So I anticipate having it maybe by midweek next week. yeah, that's my anticipation, and I think it's going to be a great knit to have just for something mindless. So when I go places, I mean, you think you wouldn't want to take a blanket places, but it's just garter stitch. So it's actually a great thing to have to just have in your lap and just go. And I have been trying to teach myself how to knit without looking. I've actually gotten okay at it. I was practicing a little bit last night and watching YouTube in the dark because I had a migraine and the lights were bothering me. So, yeah, sorry for that tangent. But I think it's going to be a great thing to take to movie theaters, to do things like that. Maybe it'll get too big at some point, but for right now, I think it sounds fun. Anyway, the other thing that I want to make for myself, I'm a selfish knitter. Knitting for myself inspires me and encourages me to actually get the things done. I don't feel pressured, so I'm okay with being a selfish knitter. That being said, I've still made things for other people. Right above that whole scarn yarn is sitting a Sophie Shawl and the ear warmer for my mother-in-law, who will be getting them tomorrow because her birthday was this week. I know, I'm so nice. But we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I want to make myself a Sophie Shawl because, again, it was a very easy knit. Yes, you have to keep track of your row count, but I really liked it. And since I'm very bougie, I want it in cashmere. Yeah, I did not knit my mother-in-law's in cashmere. I'm like, no, nah. She got still a nice yarn. I got her the Knit Picks Swish Worsted in Voyage Heather, and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm not going to show it. Maybe I'll show a picture of her wearing it. Or maybe I'll show a picture of me wearing it. That's probably what it'll be. She doesn't like pictures. But anyway, whatever is right here. Picture. But yeah, it's very soft. I like how it came out. It's got good drape. It's nice and squishy. And it's something that if she throws it in the wash, it's not the end of the world. I am going to make sure that there are care instructions when I hand it to her, but again, not the end of the world if she washes it. The headband is also knit in the same thing, just in black and Voyage Heather, so I think it'll be fine. It's definitely something good for someone who I'm not sure how well they will care for the hand knits. So yeah, we'll go with that. I know I will hand wash my knits. So I totally am knit worthy for some cashmere, right? I'm cashmere worthy. Yeah. So I was thinking Cardiff cashmere, which I know is a little on the pricey side. So depending on where I'm at when I get to that, I might go with the Knitting for Olive compatible cashmere instead. So both of them are 100% cashmere. I will probably just go for the cheaper option because I've spent a lot of money on yarn in the past couple months. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it in the Knitting for Olive compatible cashmere. There are two other things that I definitely want to do this year. One of them is the Moonset Tea by Ozetta. It is just so beautiful and it's done in silk. And again, I'm going to use the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. I just like Knitting for Olive's product. I think it's very soft, very comfortable. I haven't really knit with their mohair yet. Obviously, I have a lot of it, but we're going to find out how scratchy I think it is. I don't have a negative reaction to most things, but I do get a little scratchy around my neck. So we'll see how that goes and whether or not I can continue with mohair or if I'm going to have to find some like Surrey or something to replace it with. Anyway, that's the plan. The last thing slash things is the Ovis Series, by the Petite Knitter. Not to be confused for PetiteKnit, two different people. But she has this very cute series of color work in a looks like a hat, sweater, and mittens, where they're these brown and white sheep. And I want them so bad. She did up her mittens in like one's brown and one's white, and then the sheep on the white one are brown and the sheep on the brown one are white, and I'm like, oh, I want them. I want them so bad. So if I want them, I must knit them. And I'm not sure what weight they are done in, but I think I'm going to do them in Knit Picks palette, just because it has such a wide range of palette. I guess that's why they call it that. But I'm knitting my current test mittens in that, and I think it's going to be good. It'll be a nice warm mitten. And it's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. So that's probably what those will end up being. I'm not 100% sure yet. But yeah, I would like to knit all three. The hat, the sweater, and the mittens for myself, to have this really hefty, warm set that I can wear. You know, for the 1 week a year that it snows in Southern Virginia. But that's okay. So yeah, those are my plans for 2023. Will I get to them all? Probably not. Are there going to be lots of things that get in the way and getting it up in the meantime while these things sit on the side and all this yarn just sits here? Most likely. But you know what? I'm okay with that, because this hobby is about doing something that makes me happy. It's about producing something and not having to go and buy fast fashion that is not going to hold up and it's just going to fall apart and it's not going to keep me warm. I want to be able to turn this into something that I can make for family members, that people will actually want me to make them things. And then I'll be able to take my creative side, which really is 90% of who I am, is just creative, and I'll be able to do something with it. So that's my goal. What are your goals for 2023? Do you have any particular patterns that you're wanting to see worked up? Is there any yarn that you really want to use this year? I would love to hear all about it. Let's have a conversation. Let's really flesh this out and make goals for ourselves this year. Comment down below, like, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in a couple weeks with my next podcast video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.